A scientist is shown at the start of the movie. He was transferring a mysterious creature into his body. Afterwards, his eyes are turned into blue color, and he is transformed into a werewolf. And the scene drops here with this. Then the major character named Lang Joon of the movie is shown, who was delivering the goods by his car. Then Lang Joon listens to the news that some people were disappearing in the city mysteriously. Meanwhile, Lang Joon receives the call from his uncle, Son, and he wishes his birthday. Then he witnesses an upside-down car on his way. He attempts to rescue the man in that car. When he moves to that car, then that creature seen at the start of the movie, it transfers into the body of Lang Joon, coming out of the body of that boy. Consequently, he is also transformed into a werewolf. Then a secret military approaches there. It was looking as they have come to capture him with full preparation. But, it was not enough. As Lang Joon transforms into werewolf, then he kills all there with no difficulty. But a female fighter fires at him with a green laser. Then he immediately runs away. But that force's leader was not happy at all by this, because he was in search of that person who might adjust with that creature perfectly. So he had not found a man as such till yet. On the other hand, Lang Joon eats like an animal strangely, as he approaches at home, and he also behaves like the animals. In the end, he also vomits because of overeating. He glimpses the reflection of a werewolf as he looks himself into the mirror. Consequently, he is so afraid, and he loses his consciousness in his bathtub. Then he observes some change in himself as he wakes up, as his listening skill had very increased. At the same time, he listens to news, which was broadcasting that the scratches seen before 12 years. They have found the same searches last night. Knowing this, Lang Joon gets very upset. When Lang Joon goes to his job in the morning, then his boss shows his anger on him, because he had left his stuffed goods car on the road last night. Later, Lang Joon's boss tries to hit him with a pin in rage. Then he hits back it. As a result, that pin strikes on the wall, and it is hit on the wall so forcefully that causes the crack on the wall. His boss is very scared, witnessing this, and Lang Joon leaves that place without uttering a word there. Meanwhile, it is seen that man had kept an eye on Lang Joon, and Lang Joon also secures a little girl on the road with this from facing an accident. And he also reminds his childhood with this, where two kids were teasing him, but Lang Joon is unable to take any action because of his feebleness. At the same time, his friend saves him, coming there. In the meantime, he brings into his memory that there is his friend's boxing match today. So, he instantly moves to view the match of his friend, where it is witnessed that his friend wins the match from her rival. In spite of this, her rival pushes her down. At the same time, Lang Joon catches her, moving ahead. Meanwhile, Lang Joon's boss Son comes there. He challenges Lang Joon for the boxing match and he accepts this. Lang Joon loses his senses with one punch as their fight is held. Force's leader is seen at the same time, who had still kept an eye on Lang Joon. It is also known here that scientist shown at the beginning of the movie. He is not anyone else but Lang Joon's father, who died because of a cause. And Lang Joon's mother had also died due to some disease. Consequently, Lang Joon was all alone from his childhood. It is also revealed that Lang Joon was the last hope of the company for their experiment, because that creature in the body of Lang Joon was fully attached with his body. So the Force's leader asks his member to capture Lang Joon as soon as possible. Contrarily, Lang Joon was at the home of his friend. When he woke up, she asks Lang Joon, "Why did you take that challenge, in spite of my forbidding?" He is telling this to her. Then he notices a bandage on the face of his friend, which belonged to a company Sunny Yulian. For this company, in fact, Lang Joon's father and that lady used to serve that female soldier who had tried to fire her gun at Lang Joon at that night. After this, Lang Joon's friend shows him the photo of her brother, who had disappeared in a very mysterious way. Lang Joon tells her that he has witnessed her brother in the same company. At the same place, the members of that company arrive there to capture Lang Joon. Now Lang Joon hides under their car to keep himself hidden, and he leaves his cell phone in their car to track them down. Later, Lang Joon's friend asks him, "Why did they come here?" Lang Joon tells her that they came here to capture me, because I have a creature on which they are researching. Lang Joon goes to his uncle named Jong to get more information about this. When Lang Joon goes to his uncle's laboratory to meet him, he notices that it is set on fire. He protects him from the fire, and asks his Uncle Jong about that company. But, he has no knowledge about this. After this, when Lang Joon returns, then it is seen that someone was chasing him again. At this time, he captures him and he takes that boy to her friend. That boy tells him, he did not want to chase him, but he just want to know about that company. So he was chasing him, and he was also a hacker with this, who had caught dangerous criminals within a moment. So he takes that boy on his team, because, that boy delivers the whole information about that company to Lang Joon. He tells him, it is such a company famous for its oil trading, but, there is also a dark aspect of this company, as they trade illegal chemical weapons from other countries. And it is the same company, where Lang Joon's father and uncle used to serve. Meanwhile, he also tells Lang Joon's friend that, he had contacted with him before her brother's disappearance. He also tells it, all missing people are given a chance to play a game, before missing. Lang Joon's friend also agrees with this, because her brother had also got the same offer. Next day, Lang Joon was moving somewhere with his friend. At the same time, he receives a call from the same boy, who had delivered all the data about that company to him. Then the commander and his military approach there. Before this he tells more details. Lang Joon gets ready to go with them in order to rescue his friend. Lang Joon moves away, sitting with them in their car, but his friend follows that car in the meantime, and she stops that car. As being a great boxer, she faces the members of that force there, and she flees soon after rescuing Lang Joon from them. Then both go to the Uncle Jong and ask him about all that matters from him. Now his Uncle Jong reveals the truth and tells, he and his father used to serve in that company where he wanted to manufacture such medication through which they could cure any disease. When all knew about the death of Lang Joon's father, then they all dejected, so they also stopped working on their project with this. Now Lang Joon asks the cause of his father's death. After hearing Jong's facts, he tells on this, when his mother died because of one disease, so his father had lost his courage, so he was forbidden to work more with that company. But, those company's runners did not like the decision of your father, so, they kill your father after locking him into a room, and setting firing in this. Knowing this, Lang Joon becomes so aggressive, but Uncle Jong forbids him, saying, don't take any step against that company, because it was the most powerful company. Meanwhile, the owner of that company reached there with his men, and he kills Jong before Lang Joon. Lang Joon was enraged, witnessing his uncle dying before him. So, he is also transformed into a werewolf one more time, and he begins to fight with all. Lang Joon got the green laser shot while fighting, so, he had also come to his normal state. Before this, they are able to catch him. Lang Joon's friend pushes him down from the window, so those people may not catch him. That boy also approaches with this, and he forbids Lang Joon to take any step, because they were not ready properly till now. He explains to him, they cannot harm your friend until they catch you. Hearing this, Lang Joon trusts him and accompanies. Now Lang Joon leaves this place and begins to miss his old memories, sitting on the beach. He also casts a glance at his locket in which his, and his father's photo was stuck. And, he had also worn the gloves with this. When he shows all to that boy, then he understands as the place, where his father loses his breaths. There was a place. Now they move to that place. There are discovered some marks of werewolves. When Lang Joon reaches there, he discovers a box there and opens this with the help of his locket. He finds a tape in that box re-recorded for him by his father. He explains to Lang Joon about an experiment, that he had manufactured a drug to rescue his mother. First of all, he applied that experiment on himself, and his mother died before this. Then he stopped that experiment, but, the company started to use that drug as a weapon. Due to this, many people lost their lives. So they all decide that they will attempt to stop all illegal pursuits of that company. On the other side, it is seen that, the head of that company was in the laboratory of Jong, and he was erasing all proofs from there. Then they find an object there. That company's head was killed as he was glimpsing that object. On the other side, Lang Joon had reached the laboratory of experiments. But, they all end the security guards of that place with the help of their weapon. Then Lang Joon's friend is also shown there. She also glimpses her brother in the adjoining room. When she observes, seeing her brother, she assures him that Lang Joon will surely come to free them from here. Many people enter there when Lang Joon comes into that laboratory, but he ends all because of the superpower of that werewolf in him. After this, they had to collect proof against this company. So they all move into the different directions. Lang Joon reaches that place to rescue his friend. When he was finding the keys to rescue his friend, then Uncle Jong appears there, who tells him they have made that medicine with his blood. The medicine, which was wished to manufacture by Lang Joon's father. Before this, Lang Joon uttered a single word, then the video cassette of his uncle and father is played, in which Jong wanted to make those chemical weapons, along with the company's members. But Lang Joon's father was stopping him to do as such. So, he left Lang Joon's father in that room which was set on fire. Watching that video, Lang Joon had understood that the manipulator of that company is not anyone else but Uncle Jong, who had taken the life of his father. Meanwhile, that company's head assistant also comes, who begins to tell that the manipulator of that company is not anyone else but Jong. She was telling the truth to Lang Joon because Jong had also killed the company's head. So that assistant began to fire at Jong, but he was not becoming worried about this, because the medicine made by the blood of Joon, it had been injected into his body before by him. He becomes to transform into werewolf, and Lang Joon is also turns into werewolf. Later, a great fight is held between them there. During the fight, both come outside. Contrarily, Lang Joon's friend and her brother also come outside. Now Lang Joon's friend ties a rope around the neck of Jong to rescue him, but Jong gets no harm from this. On the contrary, he wounds Lang Joon's friend. Before this, he killed her, then Lang Joon pulled the rope upward. Lang Joon gives an electric cable to his friend. Using this, they end Jong. In the end of the movie, Lang Joon is seen reading a book at his home. It is known by the news that all missing people are found now, but they all have a mysterious mark on their body. But Lang Joon had brought into the light the truth of that company before everyone, and the film completes on this scene. Thanks for watching.